Ha! Caught you lacking. Staring at my butt cheeks? You didn't click on this video to stare at my butt cheeks, did you? I didn't think so. Clicked on this video for 3 letters. GTI. Something German, I don't know what it is. But today we're putting more mods on it. Simply dumping more money into it. Today we put 034 Camber Plates on. If you don't know what this is, you can look it up. Just kidding, I will tell you what it is in a little bit. So this basically just aligns camber and caster all in one without having to go with coilover. We also put APR's lowering bump stops on there to fix the absolutely horrendous riding of the springs.
Spectacular!
And then we're keeping heat down in the engine bay by putting the CTS Turbo blanket on and DIY wrapping the downpipe with some heat wrap. Alright, I said I would explain, so now I'm going to explain. I cannot English. Alright, I'm going to try to explain this for you guys now. So, the Camber Plates. What do they do? Why do you need them? Why should you want them? Well, you don't need them, but we want them because we're going to experiment with how the car handles. We track this car a lot, and the positives of having the Camber Plates is getting 1.5 degrees of camber and 1 degree of positive caster. Now camber allows the wheels to come in like this. So basically when you're in a corner or a sweeping corner, when the tires go like that, there's a larger contact patch touching the floor. Ideally this is not good for daily driving, but when you're on the track, it's amazing. So that's why we put this mod on. Adding 1 degree of positive caster actually helps with straight line speed. So you get the benefits of cornering and coming out of a corner, all with this plate. Now, we're going to be talking about these things. No. Not a wiener's dog's wiener.
What? What the f?
These are bump stops. Okay? We replace these for shorter ones, so this car does not ride like crap. So, we replace these with APR smaller bump stops. Now when going to a lowering spring, your car will prematurely hit these larger bump stops, causing for an uneven ride, and it could throw you off in the corners, and it could just throw off daily driving. And we should have done this a long time ago, but we were clueless and we had no idea about this until we were driving it. So we went ahead and bought APR lowered bump stops. Now this is going to allow the spring to travel fully and how it's supposed to travel. So it's supposed to ride exactly like stock, and we shall see. Here's our Super Spoolie Boy Turbo Spool cover. No, this is our turbo blanket from CTS, and this basically, there's 2 things that it does. Well, there's a lot more than 2 things, but the 2 things that I know and that I've researched. Keeps heat inside the turbo, obvious, it's a blanket. But this increases velocity, which in turn creates a faster spooling turbo, which this turbo already spools very good. But the main reason we're doing this, and this is the second reason, is to keep heat out of the engine bay. Heat's the enemy on a race car. Heat can destroy things, so simply we're just getting rid of the heat. Secondly, we did the heat wrap on the downpipe. Now this is going to do the same thing as the turbo blanket, obviously not to the biggest extent because this is a lot thinner than that, but this was our DIY way of keeping heat outside the engine bay. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. Alright, I want to thank everybody so much for 3,000 subscribers. And if you guys aren't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It'd help me so much. And if you guys need any parts for your GTI, Focus ST, Audi SQ5, I will have all my links right down below in the description, so you guys can get those parts, or the exact parts we have in these videos here. So thank you guys so much.
Sometimes you gotta pray for a victory. Yeah, I'm overzealous when I'm thinking about the cash flow. I never had no handouts, just came natural. I've been testing so much, all these wrestlers nice.
So we're gonna go ahead and remove these 3 bolts first, and that will drop the strut down, and then we'll move down to the bottom side of the car where we'll start removing some other things. Go ahead and start with removing the sway bar end link. now we can go ahead and loosen the strut bolt, and then we got a super nice strut spreader tool that I'll have linked down below. Like I said, it'll help open this back end to allow the strut to fall out. We have a M14 triple square that needs to go on the back side so that you can hold the strut bolt. That's removed. Now we can move to the top and take the 3 bolts off. Alright, so here's our strut spreader tool. So you put this tool in the back of this part right here, and you turn it 90 degrees, and it spreads this piece right here so that you can slip the coilover out. Once you get about 90, you can see that it loosens up. You can leave it back in there, and then that'll free up this part right here. So this thing's kind of a pain to get out. You're gonna have to inch that tool. Start in the middle, and since this shock has a tab on there, it hits the spreader tool. So you're gonna have to put the spreader tool up a little higher, shimmy it up, and once you get past the bottom part of that sleeve, you can put the tool on the bottom so it expands, and then you'll be able to pull it out of there. Now we're going to go ahead and do this to the other side and get both of them out. And then with our camster plates, they're going to replace this rubber plate up top, and then our new bump stops are going to go inside of here. So here's our AutoZone spring compressor. You can get this from any auto parts store. This is an external spring compressor. We're going to go ahead, slip it on the bottom, slip it on the top, and then run our safeties through like that, and then start pulling this thing tight. Get our bump stop, take that off. Now we can leave these compressed because we're going to put everything back together. So this is what our OEM front bump stop looks like, and this is APR's lowered bump stop. So this is APR's lowering springs, and now we're running their bump stops, which should help tremendously because it would hit this bump stop prematurely, and now this is going to be the correct length. So it's important to note the orientation of these camber and caster plates. If you put them in wrong, then you will have the wrong amount of camber and caster in the wrong place. So this is your driver's side, and this is your passenger side. 034 has a nice install guide on this. So you want the circles closest together. If it was wrong, it would look like this. The circle's facing outward. So you want it like this. So driver's side, passenger side. So 034 uses OEM mounting locations for the bump stops. So super nice snug fit, just like that, not going anywhere, just like OEM. First we got to slip our cover back on. sure that seats in there nice. And you will be able to rotate this in the the correct orientation. And there's a little notch right here, and it fits perfectly on the notch right there. So 034's plates will work with the OEM bump stops, but you're gonna have to trim the APRs or waller it out a little bit so it slips over the shaft, because they made theirs to sit on top of this lip, which is fine for the factory puck, but for some reason it did not work for the 034. So we just had to take a little off here and allow it to slip on over the shaft, and now we can get our bolt through, or our nut through on top, just like that. So make sure you face the logo towards the outside, and the back of the shock, there's a little tab that will slide down into this. So just make sure everything gets somewhat oriented. Get it in right there. Then you're gonna have to take the spreader out and move it. I move it towards the top, or towards the bottom a little more. Bingo. Okay, the cowls all snap back together. Bolts are torqued to 22 foot-pounds or 30 Newton meters. So now we can go ahead and bolt the rest of the car back together. Start with that rear strut bolt, and then the bottom control arm bolts. There's 3 of them. Probably like a 16. There she is down in there. So we got to take this zip tie off here. Passenger side has this little canister thing in the way of the rear bolt, so it looks like just one bolt right here, and then it'll pop off. There, that's enough out of the way. Trusty dusty dust cap. So that is it for the front and rear bump stops. Disassembled everything back here, put it all back together. Camber plates are in. Now we're going to start on the downpipe wrap. So you might have to remove one of your plugs to get a socket in there. Our itsy bitsy tiny IS-38. So it comes with 2 of these springs, and you only need 1. They just give you a replacement if it falls off. And what we're gonna do, so it sits like that, we're gonna unclip this one, and you'll be able to swing it over the turbo, and this one's gonna tuck down in between all the lines and stuff like that, so we gotta figure out how to get down there. The benefits of having the turbo blanket, it helps decrease engine temperatures inside the engine bay, and this thing has been running for at least 3-4 minutes, and I can touch it, cool to the touch. Downpipe's another story, that thing is hot, and keeping the heat inside the turbo keeps the velocity going, so you'll have added performance and optimal flow. Do a little test real quick. My dad has a thermal camera, and the downpipe should theoretically be the same temperature as the turbine housing. So since this is wrapped and that's not wrapped, we're going to get a reading to see how much the temperature difference is. Alright, so the turbo blanket is at 130 degrees. Move over to the downpipe, we're at 300 plus degrees. This is pretty insane. So now we have our design engineering header wrap, and we're gonna throw this thing in the water so it gets super soft and it's nice and malleable, and you could stretch it and make some super nice lines on the pipe. Downpipe wrap complete. Did double straps. You can go ahead and put it back in the car. Alright, you can see how cooked and destroyed our mount is. So we're going to be replacing that with an OEM unit. Mount is on, time to go back in the car. Downpipe is in, kind of ripped while we were trying to get it up in here. It's the most awkward downpipe in the world, but we got it up. Time to put the V-band back on, and today's video will be complete. Alright, that's going to be it for today's video. So just a quick recap, we did the lowered bump stops, we did the camber plates and the caster plates all in one, and then we did the header wrap, and we're going to be saving the differential service for the next video. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.